Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another round of racing in the Degenerate Racing League. Tonight we join our ACC League for round 5 of Season 7. You're going to have to bear with us a little bit here tonight. Some technical difficulties with our broadcasting software, and we're missing a lot of the overlays that we would normally have. One of them that we do have, though, is a big important one. Is just a big shout out and thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers. These folks help support DRL, keep the lights on around here, and keep the bills paid. So all those friendly names that you see on the screen, thank you so much for the love and support. Well, that's it for overlays. We're going to kick it over to the last couple of minutes of practice here. And as always, I am Morgan Dino, and joined with me tonight in the booth is Dan Dilator. Dan, how are you doing, my friend?
I am doing great. Missed you guys all last week, but we're happy to be back doing the best we can here.
Absolutely, yes. Well, as I mentioned at the start of the broadcast, missing a few of the things we would normally cover. Standings is one of those, but Dan, I understand you've stayed on top of some race results from last week and what our current standings are.
Absolutely. So last week we were in Kyalami with a reverse grid. Always exciting with the reverse grid. When we look at the pro category, we had Daniel Hirsch coming in third place. We had Gav Cook with an impressive performance, getting second place. And finally, we had Nathan Henderson taking the victory for the pro class. When we take a look at the pro-am, we have Arturas Hermanis, big return for him, coming in third place. Vladislav Maverick taking second. And of course, Don Donovan coming in first place in the pro-am. And finally, for our AM class, we had Damian Zawatsky coming in third place. Alan Leung with a great race in second place. And Tyler, Big first place for him. He's needed this, and he's going to look tonight to ride this momentum and keep going up, up, up. This is his moment. He's gonna be golden. Now, when we take a look at the standings overall, in the pro categories, we still have Neil with 147 points currently leading the pro class. Second place is Nathan Henderson, who's looking to make an attack on Neil here with 131. And in third place, we have Darren Wicks with 126 points. When we take a look overall for our Pro-Am class, we have Albert Gania still in first place with a commanding 153 points. Last week he came in fourth place. That is the first time this season he has not won a race. Don Donovan is in second place with 124 points currently, followed by Evan Zabrog with 90 points. And finally, in our AM category, we have Damian Zawatsky with 147 points, Alan Leung in second place currently with 130, and Senior Tarugo with 121 points. So we have a battle still in all classes. This is anyone's season, and Indianapolis tonight should provide some exciting racing. Morgan, what is your thoughts on Indy as a track in ACC specifically?
Yeah, well, definitely a tricky one, and I know a lot of drivers have been complaining this week, having driven it only a couple times in the game. It's one of those tracks that just feels very slippery, like there's not a lot of grip, even specifically when you're sitting in your sim and you're hanging onto your wheel. You just don't get a lot of feedback back from either the car or the track here, especially when you hit the start of sector 2 there, where you kind of do that little loop through the infield, that little kind of half horseshoe. Very, very tricky section of the track. So, yeah, definitely not going to put it up there with, in any of my probably top 5 or top 10 tracks. But definitely always brings a new challenge that is exciting for each and every week.
Yeah, absolutely. And I could not agree more. This is such a difficult track to drive. And I don't know how you feel about it, but anytime you're doing like a road circuit within an oval track, it always throws me off. A lot of times you're going down that main straight, at least for me driving, it's the time I might be looking at my HUD, looking at what some of the intervals are to other drivers, and it's very easy to miss the first turn on this track if you're not paying attention, and it can be a tricky one. So we're diving into qualifying here. Let's see if this throws anyone off and what we can get out of the amateur class here.
Yeah, for sure. So for those who don't know, amateurs will take to the track for the first 10 minutes of qualifying. That's a pretty small group tonight. Looks like we got 6 amateurs, which means our pro-ams and pros will go out for the second 10 minutes of qualifying. The track will be a little busier then, but that's when we'll start to see some of the really fast times get laid down by our pros and our pro-ams.
Absolutely. And Morgan, do you have any predictions tonight for our amateur class?
Yeah, I like the way that what I've seen from Tarugo so far, as looking at the lap time leaderboards earlier today. I think Zawatsky probably got a good chance. And as always, like you mentioned, Tyler Morgan probably going to be right up there with the group as well. So I feel like at a track like Indy, though, where we talked about how the grip just feels so slidey here, it really could be anyone's game. It's 10 minutes. It seems like a lot of time, but crawling around this track, it could be hard to set, that perfect lap in that amount of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a driver to watch tonight as a whole from the amateur class is John Malott. He is one of the most reliable drivers on the track. And when you have difficult circuits like this, historically, he's always been able to make up a lot of places by just keeping his car on the track the whole time, picking his battle wisely. So I think he may be someone who may not qualify the highest, but makes up a lot of positions in the race. So definitely someone to keep an eye on as we look at him. Oh, we're going to move over to Tarugo, who looks like he's just getting ready to start his first lap here as he's coming down the main straight. Let's see what Tarugo can do as we kind of ride along with him a little bit.
Yeah, so once you start throwing it into turn 1 and turn 2 here, it's not too bad. Grip feels pretty good. He's going to round the corner here in turn 3, and it's this next braking zone coming up here. The next one he turns into here, into the right, as it flips over to Leung. That spot Tarugo was getting to is the spot I was talking about that just really feels like you're driving on ice. Yeah,
it's definitely a spot where we're going to see a lot of, mistakes happen and a lot of potential areas for drivers to make their moves. I think more than any track, this is one where you just really want to be patient and let the other drivers make mistakes. You keep the pressure on them the whole time and let them make that mistake rather than making that aggressive move to try to get past them. As we follow Malott, who looks like he's going through the first couple turns here.
Hop back on with Tarugo as he's coming close to the end of his lap through the last couple corners, it looks like. Yeah, back onto the main straight. Be the first driver to set a time, as long as it's a valid lap. I think he is on a valid lap.
A 137.8 for Tarugo. Let's use that pulling up behind him. We got Tyler Morgan almost a full second behind him. So a great lap for Tarugo or a bad lap for Tyler. We'll have to see a few more times come in before we make that determination here. Now, one thing I will say about Tyler is Tyler usually puts in a banker and sees what he can do from there. Damian Zawadzki is going to come through his lap, and he's going to be 2/10 behind Tarugo. So great lap for Tarugo, putting up a benchmark there. And I think, Tarugo's got to make some improvements on that because Zawadzki will definitely be able to find a little more time. We'll see if Tyler's able to find a second. But it'll also be interesting to see what Leung's able to put up, what Malott can do. And then, of course, we have Will Sanchez, who is newer to the grid. How does he fare with some of our other amateurs, and what can he do tonight on a difficult track?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I sort of tuned in a little bit last week. We were both away, so we just had the stream running remotely with no commentary. But I didn't get a chance to really check out Will's performance. I do remember seeing him mentioning in chat that he was hanging towards the back, but I know he's one of the newer folks to not only ACC but also to our grid. And like we always see, Dan, it always seems to be that new drivers have a very rapid rate of improvement, especially when they join a league and they just start practicing, the weekly track over and over and over.
Absolutely, and I may be biased, but it's one of my favorite things about DRL is the beginner-friendly aspect of it and the AM class. That if you are a new driver out there who wants to get into league racing, this is a great place to kind of dip a toe into that. And as you said, we've seen so many of our drivers who are up in the pro and pro-am classes started in amateurs and have made their way up and continue to improve their racing because they became a little more structured. They're racing in a more structured league rather than the chaos of open lobbies. So Alan Leung's put up a time. He's 3.8 seconds behind, so he had to have something happen on that lap that didn't invalidate. Zawadzki is going to have put up a better time. He's got Tarugo beat by 1/10 of a second, and Tyler is now officially a full second behind. I do expect some improvement from Tyler. We'll see if Malott or Will Sanchez can put in a valid lap, but I mean, it is a tricky track. It's really easy just to run a little wide between turn 5 and 6 that we've kind of talked about, which is that really icy part of the track. So let's see what any drivers can put up. Will Sanchez, we got about 6 seconds behind the time, so Will find some improvements here. I believe in Will. See what he can do here. Zawadzki almost loses it, but he's able to save that car, which can be tricky to save though sometimes. You got to get off the power immediately.
Tough spot for Zawadzki there. He was up on his lap there. That definitely set him back, so he will not improve on this lap. But all other amateur drivers are improving. I'm seeing greens across the board for all of the drivers, so we should see times continue to drop as Tarugo crosses the line and sets a 37.4, so he does improve slightly. Tyler puts it within 3/100ths of a second, so Tyler gets very, very close there in P2. Just take a quick
Tyler right there.
Yeah, just take a quick break here just to say a huge thank you to Turk10mm on Twitch. Thanks for the Prime sub, my friend. Subs and likes and follows are all very much appreciated. And hello to anybody else hanging out with us on stream tonight. Tell us you're here in the chat. Say hello. Let us know. Do you have any questions? Do you have any predictions? Fire them away.
Yeah, we love some predictions here. Let me see what you got. And yeah, Turk, huge thank you for that. We really appreciate it. So we have another battle in qualifying in the AM class, and I can't think of a season where our AM drivers have been so close. Every race, it seems like we got a great battle, and we got about 2 more minutes of qualifying, and I think we'll see a few more lead changes before this thing is said and done. And it almost feels like, in any racing league, whether it be virtual or real life like Formula One, the last one across the line is going to end up having that best time by 100th of a second. Just that little bit of track improvement is going to make the difference on them because they are so closely, they're so close with their times. Got Zawatsky here, who's looking to kind of wrap up his lap as we move over to Tarugo again. So Tarugo's going to kind of see if he can put up a little bit of a better time, kind of stamp that victory for him. But Tyler only 300ths of a second behind. He's trying to switch up these vibes, see what he can do.
Watsky will be the next to cross the line, and I don't think he won't get another lap in, so this will be it for him. Oh, and he takes provisional pole with a 137.277. What a lap by Damian right at the end. And who do we have coming to the line next? Car 107 will be Will Sanchez, the next to finish his lap and cross the line. We'll stay on board
should be noted,
with these drivers.
As these guys finish in the next 10 seconds, they will be able to get another lap in if they want, as long as they cross that line.
Yeah, that's a great point. So Zawatsky, who did cross the line there to set provisional pole, can continue and finish his lap because he was across before that mark. Will not get, because we are now under the 10-minute mark. Will doesn't look like he improves. Tarugo will be next to take the start finish line. Tarugo is up slightly on this lap. Will it be enough for provisional pole? And it is a 137.135.
Great lap for Tarugo. Let's see what Tyler's able to do here. As Malat has pulled into pit, so we have Tyler and we have Alan Leung, it looks like still left to finish. And it looks like Tyler does not improve on his lap at all. He's going to be in third here. Leung improves, but it's not enough to move ahead of anyone. So it seems like, does Damien put in another lap here? It did look like he might have been slowing down at first, but he is moving through this lap as he comes to finish. Can he find a 10th to pass Tarugo and take pole? Yes, he can by 600ths of a second. What a lap. What a finish for Zawatsky, who takes pole at the last minute from Tarugo. So our AM class is going to finish with Zawatsky on pole, Tarugo alongside him, Tyler Morgan, Alan Leung, John Malott, and Will Sanchez. What an exciting qualifying there between Tarugo and Zawatsky and Tyler Morgan, the three of them just battling that out. And as I predicted earlier, the last one to get across the line was going to get it, and that 600ths of a second is proof of it.
Yeah, that was incredible. I love a quali that's that close, and it comes down to the last laps each driver's putting in. Yeah, that's Zawatsky and Tarugo being 6/100ths. That's what we love to see.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that, and I expect another great qualifying session as we're following the Hirsch brothers right now as they work their way out from Team Hirsch Racing. We have Daniel and Kyle. Now we're alongside Hermanis. See what Hermanis can do, as he looks like he's kind of mixed in between a couple pros potentially. Interesting to see the time difference between the amateurs and the pro-ams and the pros, and how close are we?
Yeah, Archer's, you can hang probably with a lot of these pros. We've seen that in the first couple of races that he's been able to join us. I know he missed the first, I think, 2 races, but his first race back, I think, was Imola, and qualifying at Imola, Archer's was right in the mix with half the pros. So yeah, he can definitely throw down with these guys. So being in the mix in the middle of, a bunch of pros on track, not a problem for Arders. I'm sure he's going to give himself a good gap before he takes start-finish line and make sure he's got space in front, and then it's up to the driver behind to make sure that they have got the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And just looking at our drivers tonight, we have only 3 Pro-Ams coming. So this is a podium for all 3 of these guys, assuming that they finish the race.
Yeah, big important fact you hit on there, Dan. You definitely got to finish the race. We run with the 90% completion rule here in the DRL. So you need to take the checkered flag to be eligible for points. If you crash out or spin out and choose to retire your race early, that will equal a DNF and 0 points in the championship.
Absolutely. So we're seeing some times come in. We got the great and powerful Neil Kerbel coming in with a 135.8, leading the standings right now, with Darren Wicks 7/10 behind him, and Hermani's 7/10 behind them also. The Hirsch brothers are 8/10 and 9/10 respectively. Hernandez 1 second behind. Mitch Nairati 1.3 seconds. So, just take a look at this. That is a mega lap from Neil Kerbel that he put in. I don't know if there was some traffic or something happened where these guys are building it up, but just for that first lap on the board, Neil's got to be feeling good about having such a lead there.
Yeah, 7/10 after the first lap is pretty huge. Usually that first lap is a throwaway lap because the tires are just not up to temperature yet, especially around a place like Indy where it just feels like there's no grip here. As we saw with our AMs, like times just kept continuing to drop and drop and drop as these guys put laps in. So for him to have 7/10 after the first lap, I don't want to say yikes, but yikes.
Yeah, although we can't forget what just happened in the in the amateur category. We had Tyler a second down after his first lap, and he was able to be right in the mix by the time it ends. But yeah, definitely a mega lap as we see Kyle Hirsch come up with about 9/10 in a second. So Neil putting up another big lap, just continuing to improve that time, and Darren makes an improvement, but still not enough. So Neil looks to have the car really dialed in. Chronotis is going to put up a great time. He's about 8/10 behind Neil. Hermani's still in the mix with the pros, just like you said. He's right in there with Gavin, with Henderson, and Spencer Braun seems to be struggling a little bit. Gania is probably not too happy with his lap time. I'd expect some improvement from him as the qualifying session goes on, but we're down to 4.5 minutes. So these drivers maybe got 3 more laps out there, maybe 4 laps if they're quick about getting it in. So they got to start finding some time here.
Yeah, it's great to see, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, the driver we're on board with now, Dean Stefani, I believe this is his first race of the season. I think he did miss the first 4 races. So to see him sitting up there in a pretty P3, always impressive for the driver lining up for his first race of the season.
Absolutely, that's correct. That is his first race of the season so far. Following along with Darren Wicks here as he makes his way down the main straight. Darren and Neil have battled this season. It's been a great battle between them, and they are close in the standings. Darren's currently in 3rd place with 126. Nathan Henderson, who's struggling a little bit in this qualifying session right now, he is at 131, and of course Neil Kerbel is leading with 147 as he looks to continue this lead. Not the best race for Neil last week, though. He ended up finishing in 7th place. That is his drop round. As you guys may know, in DRL, we have 1 drop round. So the worst result of 1 race does not count towards your score. So that's a 7th place drop for Neil is big. That keeps him with the first place and a 2nd place for the standings. But Neil can't have any more 7th place results, or he will find himself dropping quickly from the standings. We're not seeing too much improvement here.
Sorry, that's right, Dan. For those who don't know, we do run a 1 drop race round here in our ACC league, meaning all drivers' worst round, whether they score points at all 8 rounds or they are not able to make a race, we'll just drop the lowest scoring point for one single round from all drivers and take their best 7.
So right now we see Dean Stefani and Chronotis, who are in the pit lanes. Chronotis looks like he's going to come out to hit one more lap. I don't know if Stefani will come in. I don't know if that was a fuel issue for them where they needed to add a little bit more fuel and get back out there, or if they're just saying this is the best that I can do. But we really haven't seen anyone challenge Neil too much. I've seen Kyle Hirsch come up, and he's still 4/10 away. That's a lot of time to make up on a track, especially for the pro class. With the pro class, you don't see them have the mistakes that you might see in some amateur laps where they can really make up a lot of time. So it's a lot easier for the amateur class to find a 10th or 2 than it is for a pro to find a 10th or 2. So it'll be really interesting to see as this track heats up a little more. Can anyone find some more time? Will we get a big last lap like we saw with the pro category? I know Gania is probably looking for it. He's about half a second down on Hermanis, who Mitch Nairati puts up a huge lap right now, 7/10 behind Neil Kerbel. So he's looking at a low 136 there. Nairati's got to be really happy with that as he takes the lead over Hermanis by 1/10 of a second. So let's see what ends up happening here in this final minute of qualifying. Will Kerbel be able to hold his lead?
Yeah, just as we see Darren Wicks there, I think he might have just gone over track limits trying to take as much of that corner as he could. I don't know that this lap is going to count. He was up, which is unfortunate, and I am showing that he has invalidated that lap.
Well, he should have enough time with 30 seconds to finish to get one more lap in here, as we're going to come through with Kyle Hirsch and see what he can put up. He does make an improvement, but only by 1/10. It's not enough. Darren Wicks has returned to the pits, so his qualifying session is done. Stefani is still in the pit lane, so his qualifying session is done. Spencer Braun's gone to the pit lane, so his qualifying session is done as well. So let's see who can make up some time. I'm really interested to see if Henderson can find any time. I don't know if you can see on his current lap where he's at, as qualifying is officially finished now, so this is the last lap for everybody, and see what they can do. The Hirsch brothers, they've decided to go back to the pit lanes as well. As we got Mitch coming across the finish line here. Looks like he's not able to improve anymore, but I think he's still going to be happy with where he finished. We got Henderson coming around. Gania is done, so he's going to be in 3rd place for our Pro-Am category. We got to see if Hermanis has anything as well. He's still out on a valid lap. Can Chronotis do anything? Can Gav do anything? And Neil Kerbel's still out, so is he going to improve on his 135.4? We will see.
Yeah, just taking a look at the timing board here, Dan. Few drivers are improving. Daniel Hirsch, so far the one who is up the most, currently on 3/10 up. Still a bit of a reach to hit Neil there. We're being 7/10 down. Nathan Henderson also 4/10 up on his lap so far, but Nathan also down over a second to Neil. So not looking like any real challengers for Neil as he takes the checkered flag to see if, I think that's going to be it for challenging for pole position.
Yeah, Daniel was able to move up to 3rd place, but Neil came out today and he said, I'm going to show you how it's done, as he put up a mega 135.4 to take pole position tonight. What a great qualifying session, especially in the AM category. I mean, that was just nail-biting all the way through, but in the pro category, just complete dominance by Neil. But a huge shout-out to Nairati. He's putting up some big laps at the end to get above Hermanis, who had a great lap. So as we get this session started here, let's take a look at our standings, or at our starting positions here, and do a little grid walk, starting with our pole position and current championship leader, Neil Kerbel. Followed by Neil Kerbel is Kyle Hirsch. Then we have brother Daniel Hirsch. The two Hirsch brothers, 2nd and 3rd place. I think their team's going to be really happy about that. 4th place, we have Darren Wicks, who's looking to continue his attack for 1st place. followed by our pole position in the Pro-Am category. Mitch Nairati's a huge qualifying session for Mitch. He's got to be happy with how he was pulled through at the very end. Great job to you, Mitch. We got Dean Stefani, who's in 5th place in the Pro category. A great return for Dean Stefani. I think he's got to be really happy with what he's been able to do with his first time back. And I don't know how much time he spent in his sim rig. So let's see what he can do in the race where it really matters. Next, we got Arturas Hermanis, who's had another great qualifying session there, and he looks to battle with Mitch for first place in the Pro-Am category tonight. Next, we have Professor Chronotis, who put up a great lap, followed by Gav Cook, who's able to get ahead of Nathan Henderson right at the end of his qualifying session there, which Nathan Henderson is in 10th place, followed by Spencer Braun in 11th, who is rounding out the Pro division. Give you a second to catch up because I kind of went a little fast there. For everyone there, screen time. That's a nice livery for Nathan, actually, looking at that. Then finally, rounding out the Pro-Am category, we got Gania. And then we're going to move into our AM category. Damian Zawadzki, who had a huge final lap right at the buzzer to take first place over Tarugo by hundredths of a second. Tarugo will be holding down second place in the AM category or 14th place overall, followed by Tyler Morgan, then Alan Leung, racing car 555. We have John Malott, and rounding out the grid, we got Will Sanchez. We should have a great race tonight. We'll have battles up and down the grid. It will be a very interesting turn one here, and it will be very interesting to see who is able to keep their car on the track the longest. This is going to be a race of attrition, I believe, and who can make the fewest mistakes. These cars are going to be putting pressure on each other. I don't know if we'll see too many aggressive moves. I think we could see some moves into turn 1. I think we could see some moves into turn 10 as well, coming down these long straights as the drivers might look to make a little dive bomb. Outside of that, there aren't a lot of great overtaking opportunities, but we will keep an eye out. Morgan, what are you excited for in the race here?
Oh man, I'm excited to see kind of how these battles shape out. I mean, I always, especially with our AMs, they're all grouped together, right? They're not spread out. Our Pro-Ams are a little spaced out in this race, kind of mixed amongst our Pro drivers. So really going to keep an eye on those AM drivers and see how they all shake out. Interesting, for Gania sitting at the bottom of that Pro-Am class. Curious to see how he does make his way up, though. He has, leading the way in Pro-Am, so just curious to see if he finds any pace once we get going into the race. The other thing I wanted to mention tonight, Dan, we are into September, as Twitch likes to call it. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. I'm going to give out a Twitch sub for any of our category pole sinners to take their win in their class. So if Neil wins, Mitch wins, or Zawadzki wins, we're going to give away one sub.
Absolutely. You love to hear it. Nothing better than a free sub. And if you're looking for a channel to sub to, we'd love to have you here. We don't have any DGens of the day, unfortunately. So this is going to kind of take that replacement. So we got about 1 minute before this session starts. This is always, at least for me, when I'm getting ready to drive, kind of when I'm starting to focus in. It's a long 5 minutes sitting there waiting for the session to start, especially if you don't need to use the restroom, get some water, anything like that. So we get ready. We got about 30 seconds. As a reminder, we are doing a full out lap before we get started here. Mitch Nyrad's hopped in the chat. He said he has no idea how he managed that lap, to be honest. And Mitch, it's because you're goated. You're going to stay goated. So keep going. I want to see it all race here.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one, Dan. We're racing a little earlier in the day here at Indy. I believe race time is noon. Most of our race times in this league are usually in the later evenings or even some of the night races that we run. Curious to see how that plays a part in track grip. I know when these drivers did get on track, it was only at a fast state. It hadn't kicked over to optimum. I imagine through practice and qualifying, we're probably in an optimum state now. But adding to the pain that is lack of grip at Indy could be really interesting to watch as this race unfolds.
Absolutely. And Neil has taken us off the line as we work for our outlap. He's leaving the grid box saying, I don't think you guys are ready for this takedown. With a huge qualifying lap for Neil, he is looking to continue that pressure and continue his dominance. A first place for him would be big tonight, as we see Zawadzki warming up his tires a little bit as he does the great car dance down the main straight here. And it will be interesting to see as we start this race who is going to try to be aggressive and make up places. You might see something in the AM category, but what's really interesting is, you know, when we were in, Imola, is where we saw Tyler battling with someone out of his class. And it can always be risky for drivers when you're battling out of their class. So how's this come into play for Nyrads? Is he going to worry if Stefani gets a great jump off the line and focus on defending on Hermani's? And what's Hermani's going to do with Gav Cook and Chronotis right behind him as they look to make moves? Are these pros going to try to get ultra aggressive right off the bat to start making places up? Or are they going to find themselves stuck behind a lower class driver? It will be really interesting to see what they end up doing here to manage their race all in all. I'm also really interested to see this race, the pit strategies that we do. You know, there's kind of two main schools of thoughts we have here. One is to take it immediately, which not too many drivers do, but the drivers who do it tend to be very successful if they can stay out of trouble throughout the race. And then of course there's wait until, as long as you can hold it off and just throw in a few laps of few liters of fuel just to get you around and see how we finish. So it'll be interesting to see if more people try to maybe pit early to get out of some chaos. If it's just, you know, cars are staying close to each other and it's a bit chaotic.
Yeah, I agree there, Dan. I mean, we typically see most of the drivers take that late splash and dash like you talked about there, just adding a tiny bit of fuel towards the end of the race. But ain't nothing wrong with going early. Sometimes people will do it out of strategy. Tyler Morgan's a big advocate of that. He usually pits early and tries to just hot lap the rest of the race to gain his time, keeping away from trouble. You know, I've been in situations where I've been, you know, high up in the pack, been spun out all the way to the back. And again, instead of trying to battle my way through the field, I have made the choice to make that early pit stop, get it out of the way, and then get some clear air on track.
Yeah, as an AM driver myself, I was always a big fan of pitting as late as possible because there's always that chance you spin out, get a little bit of damage or something like that that is causing you more problems. But it's not about me right now. It is about the start of this race as Neil works his way down the main straight and we get ready and the lights go green and here we go. Kyle Hirsch gets a great jump on Neil, but it is not going to be enough to take that position down first place. We got Darren Wicks following behind him, it looks like, in third place, as Daniel Hirsch looks like has fallen back a little bit as we got a little bit of chaos into turn one, but not horrible as we're following along with Chronotis here. Looking at Zawadzki, who looks like he is side by side with not Tarugo. Tarugo is still behind him. That might be Gania right there. A little bump it in front of them. As Zawadzki's making up some places here. He looks to be doing really good. But, we got some contact into maybe turn 3, was it?
Yeah, it looks like Tyler Morgan involved maybe.
Let me know if we can get a replay and take a look at that as this calms down a little bit.
Let's have a look. We'll flip it over now. We'll have our usual replay badge. Some bumping and banging there. And that carries over. Oh, Tyler just tried to squeeze the nose in there, try to make it 3 wide.
Yeah, it looks like Henderson made some contact there. And it looks like Hermani's had that little bump initially too. As yeah, Scribble and Sam are counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's like math class all over again. So we're following along with Chronotis here. As we have Leon go wide. You know, as we said, this first lap, your tires aren't always there yet, and it is a slippery track, and we're seeing the mistakes happen. As our standings currently show, we have Kerbal in first place, almost 2 seconds ahead of Kyle Hirsch, followed by Darren Wicks in third, then Daniel Hirsch in fourth. We got Gav Cook about 2 seconds behind them. Arturas Hermanis behind Gav Cook, then Mitch Nyrades. So Hermanis has taken that spot from Nyrads. We got Damian Zawadzki, who's made up a ton of places in 8th place right now, followed by Spencer Braun and Professor Chronotis. We got Gania currently in 11th, then Alan Leung and John Malott, who are battling it out. Dean Stefani, who's moved down to 14th place. Looks like maybe he was in some of that contact initially. We have Tarugo down there. We have Henderson, who we saw get clipped by possibly Tyler Morgan, and then followed by Will Sanchez there, holding up the rear still. So it looks currently like Nyrad's to Zawadzki is our closest battle. So it looks like Zawadzki just got past Nyrad's as he made that position. So this is not the start of the race Nyrad's wanted after such a great qualifying session. But Zawadzki's got to be super happy. I mean, we saw him make up a ton of places right off the bat, although he's got the pressure of a Pro-Am right behind him, 2 pros, and then followed up by a 4th Pro-Am who really wants to get those positioned back in Ghania. So he's going to be feeling that pressure, and I don't know how much he's going to choose to battle with them versus keep running with it, because he's got about 2 seconds to Liang, and I think he just wants to manage that lead in his class. But he's holding off Mitch right now.
Yeah, it looks like Mitch maybe got back in front of him. It looks like Spencer is the car in front of Mitch here at this point, so maybe a bit of a position swap there. Damien, just like you said, maybe getting out of this battle, knowing that he's got some space as they cross the finish line and now our order adjusts properly. Wondering, just curious if Mitch had damage or was maybe involved in some of those early collections. I don't see anything on his car. He looks no worse for wear. So yeah, maybe just not the start he was hoping for, or just was cautious through some of the chaos that was happening in front of him on lap 1.
Yeah, and we saw him into turn 1 look to make a move on the inside on Spencer Braun, who Spencer Braun is not an easy person to overtake. So he will try to keep that pressure on Spencer and hope he can make a mistake. He's going to want to get right in that mirror and make it be the only one he can think of in every drop he drinks up. So Spencer's definitely not the easy person to pass. He is the brick wall of DRL. So it'll be great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anybody who tuned into the race last week, despite not having any commentary, would have seen Spencer put on an absolute masterclass in defense, where our auto camera was glued to a battle between him and Worley for, I'd say half the race. Or Spencer just, yeah, like I say, showed Worley how hard it is to overtake.
And we just saw Zawadzki make a great overtake on Chronotis. It didn't look like he put up too much of a fight. So I don't know if he was just feeling that pressure from Zawadzki, or if maybe he has some damage from some of the earlier incidents. But Zawadzki was able to get past him. So again, a great race for Zawadzki here, but he is going to be feeling the pressure of Chronotis and Ghania behind him as well, as Ghania looks to make a move on Chronotis as well.
Yeah, Chronotis' car looking like it's a little bit worse for wear. Looking at the front splitter, looks pretty banged and scraped up, so it is quite possible he is driving with some damage, as we see Mitch get real close to the back of Braun there heading into turn 1.
Yeah, and that's about all that Mitch is going to be able to do, I think, is you got to get Spencer to make a mistake. He's got to feel some worry. He's got to clam up a little bit, feel like he might get hit, and just make that little twitch or get distracted a little bit to give you that opening to make a move. As we see Ghania look to put a ton of pressure on, that looks like he's putting the pressure on Zawadzki. Chronotis looks like he's got in front of him now. So as they've done a little swap here, and I don't think Zawadzki's going to hold Ghania for long, although Ghania's got to be careful he doesn't clip him as he went on the grass there. That's another very easy place to lose the car, as you start to accelerate a little bit too soon and you clip the grass. And yep, Zawadzki's just going to let him by. He's going to say, I don't want any of that smoke from Ghania, and let Ghania carry on, which I think is a great move for Zawadzki, because he just wants to continue to maintain that 2.5 lead he has over Liang and Tarugo.
Yeah, real smart play there from Zawadzki. It looked like Ghania got an incredible exit out of that corner onto that back straight there, and as we saw him almost clip the back of Zawadzki just said, yeah, like you said, I'll let you go by there, buddy, and I'm just gonna cruise on here. Although you can't be too cautious, because Liang is only like you say there, about 1.5 seconds behind.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely that balance of not fighting battles that you're not going to win and losing time, unnecessarily defending, but you also got to keep pushing the pace. And Zawadzki's let Stefani go, so now he's got nothing but AMs behind him, but he's lost so much time. He's got Liang only 0.5 second behind him, and that's going to motivate Liang. He's going to see that and say, I can do this. Let's keep pushing our pace. And you start to feel really good. And the last thing you want to do is give confidence to your opponents, as we see Mitch and Spencer going side by side here as they are catching up to Hermanis, it looks like there. And Spencer is going to hold that position. But Hermione's is definitely going to be a little speed bump here, and let's see who can capitalize off that, as Mitch is going to look to make a move onto the opposite side, and he looks to do something as Spencer kind of gets trapped behind him, but I don't think there's going to be enough. Spencer's got the inside, and that's kind of all that's going to matter here. But yeah, Hermione's is definitely a roadblock that I don't think either of those two want in their battle. Mitch makes an aggressive move on the inside, and, you know, the Great Wall of Brawn, there's not much you can do.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty good attempt by Mitch there. He did go around the outside, but right after that corner, the next corner is a right-hander, so that turns him into the inside, into that chicane, but he just didn't quite get far enough alongside to get the traction, hopping over that curb to get another run through on Braun here, as now he's backed off a little bit. So we'll keep an eye on these three, because this is our closest battle on track currently.
Yeah, and just to bring it back up to our drivers up front, we have Neil with a commanding 5-second lead already. So he looks to be, again, in a league of his own. And we got Kyle and Daniel still in second and third place. We got Darren Wicks, though, who's only half a second behind Daniel Hirsch. So there's definitely some opportunity there. But then outside of that, we got Gav Cook, who's about a second and a half behind Darren Wicks in fifth. And then we got a big gap to Hermione's, 8-second gap to Hermione. So for Spencer, Chronotis, Stefani, and Hernandez, it looks like Hernandez has made the choice to go into the pit lane and get his pit open over with early and just kind of hot lap, which isn't maybe the worst decision for him here, but they got a lot of ground to make up, and Kerbel's got to be feeling great about this right now. As we also take a look at the AM category, and Sawatsky's put that lead from half a second up to almost 2 seconds now. 2.3. Tarugo has passed Leung. Something must have happened. No, we're watching Leung, so something hasn't happened to him, but Tarugo has got ahead of him as well. Tyler Morgan's got ahead of him as well. But Sawatsky's kind of running away with it again in the amateur category. So it looks like his strategy of not battling has paid off well. And we got a contact there. We got Hermione's, who's got spun around. And it looks like that was from car 98, Gania. It looks like he stopped to let him through, but at some point you just got to keep going, because you become an obstacle in the way as well. I didn't get a clear enough look at that to see what exactly happened, as Gania did pull off track to give that position back. So props to Gania to recognizing he made a mistake there and not capitalizing on it when he could have gained a lot of time there. But he's going to continue to give that position back to Hermione's, who's going to carry on. And that is going to open the door for Braun. I see Chronotis has got ahead of Nyrad's. So that'll be interesting if we can somehow find our way over and maybe check out what exactly is going on between those guys. But Spencer's got 10 seconds to get to Gav, almost 11 seconds. So he's got a lot to make up.
Yeah, let's take a quick look back here, Dan. It looks like it all started actually between an incident between Arturs and Mitch Nyrati. So in that battle that the three were having, we're going to hop on board here and see what happened with these guys first, and then we'll take a look at what happened between Arturs and Gania. So as these guys head down the back straight into the left-hander, looks like maybe just a bit of contact. That camera angle didn't show it great as it ends there. And then we have a quick look. There's the end of that incident. Arturs is coming back on track and going side by side. There was, yeah. And I think, yeah, it just gets collected by Gania there as he'd run through the grass, trying to, I think, give the spot back to Arturs.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate series of corners for Hermione's, and it looked like it was a tough camera angle, but it looked that it was possible for Nyrad's that maybe he just ran a bit deep there. It looked like Spencer was hitting him with the switchback there and taking that inside. You try to break a little bit later to hold that corner. It looks like maybe he just went a little deep and might have gave Hermione's a slight bump off track. It didn't look too egregious all in all, but then of course the next turn when you get clipped by another driver and spun around, that's a little tougher to recover from. But I'm sure Spencer is not minding a little bit of breathing room from Mitch, as they've spent the last couple laps neck and neck in a battle, and as now he's got Chronotis about 1.3 seconds behind him. So let's go through the standings quickly, see where we're at. Currently we got Neil Kerbel still in first place with an almost 7-second lead, followed by Kyle Hirsch, then Daniel Hirsch, then Darren Wicks, Gav Cook, Spencer Braun, Professor Chronotis, Then we got Dean Stefani, who actually has had a great recovery from falling all the way down the order earlier. We have leading the amateur class is Zawadzki, followed by Tarugo, who's making up some time. He's only 7/10 behind Zawadzki, so coming from that 2 seconds a few minutes ago, Tarugo's making up some time here, followed by Tyler Morgan, who's 4/10 behind Tarugo. So we got a battle going on in the AM as we see on our screen here, and Zawadzki's probably not minding to see Tyler and Tarugo battle a little bit to give him some breathing room. But behind Tyler, we have Nyrads, who's looking to make his recovery drive, see what places he can come up. So that's going to be interesting to see how he works through an amateur battle, because he is not going to want to sit behind and watch that. However, he is leading the Pro-Am category. We have Leung, 2.2 seconds behind Nyrads. Then we have John Malott, 1.1 seconds behind. Then we have Henderson, who is looking to continue his hot lapping streak. He was our first driver to pit, so we'll see how that comes into play later in the race. Then we have Arturus Hermanis, who has also pit already after his incident. And we are followed currently by Sanchez, who's a couple laps down, who's in the pit lane currently as we speak. It looks like with whatever happened with Gania, he has chose to retire from the race, which you hate to see happen. I don't know if he's aware of the 90% rule that we talked about earlier, but this is the exact thing you don't want to see from the drivers. When there's only 3 of you, you got to go in the pit. It doesn't matter if you're sitting there for 29 minutes of the 31 minutes remaining. You sit there, you let that pit window, you take those repairs, you get out on track just to finish, to get your points, because what could be a third place finishes for him is going as a 0-point DNF, which could potentially really hurt him in the standings.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, sometimes we get frustrated and we drop out and it's not worth finishing, and that's fine. That's how we do sometimes. But Gania gonna lose out on some key points, but maybe he's got him to throw away. We do still have a drop round available for all of our drivers. So if Albert's been to all the races so far and put up some good results, then maybe he's just happy to take this as a drop round and come back next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And just taking a look at the standings, he's got a first place finish, a first place finish, a first place finish, and a fourth place finish. So I think he's not going to lose too much sleep over a DNF for one race. And I do just want to give Albert a shout out. You know, immediately after the contact, he was in Discord apologizing to Hermanis, which you love to see the sportsmanship and the camaraderie and that we have here in DRL, and drivers understanding that incidents happen sometime and be willing to own up to them and not causing a big problem and just enjoying our time here together. So big shout out to Albert for the sportsmanship as well.
Yep, absolutely. Love to see it. It's one of the best parts about our DRL community is we're here to play, but at the end of the day, we're also a bunch of friends that we've made with each other here online in our Discord community. If that's the kind of racing you fancy, don't hesitate to give us a follow. You can find us on Discord. I can drop the link in the chat here in a moment. And give us a follow here on Twitch. You can find us on YouTube, and we will be happy to welcome you into our league.
Absolutely, as we see both Zawadzki and Nyrads taking some of the grass, and that always freaks me out. Anytime I clip the grass, I don't like it. But the drivers seem to be utilizing every inch of that track available. Nyrads has made his way through some of the AMs as they chose to pit. Since we've been chatting here a little bit, Tarugo's come into pit. Tyler Morgan has come into pit as well. So Tyler coming in at an odd time compared to how he normally does. Same with Tarugo. I wonder if they just noticed Mitch behind them and said, let's not lose time. Let's not fight. We got to take a pit. Let's just pull into the pit lane and charge back at Zawadzki and hope maybe he loses some time unnecessarily fighting with Mitch here. Although Zawadzki's been great tonight about choosing his battles wisely, finding a straight, letting them by, losing minimal amount of time and carrying on with his race.
Yeah, he's got some clean air, it looks like, too, right? Like he's a couple seconds back from, or was it 7 seconds back from Stefani. So he's kind of doing a hot lap, hot lapping on his own. He's got a little bit of pressure behind him from Nairati, but again, not a battle he needs to worry about. So I can't, as assuming Zawadzki can just keep calm and just lap after lap without any kind of major incidents or drama, he should do okay. hopefully the pressure to those guys pitting early doesn't get to him, and he just drives his own race.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all he can do. And yeah, you're you're definitely preaching to the choir there. So Nyreds is continuing to close this, and Damien's got to be feeling this. So we'll see if he ends up letting him through on the next longer straight, or does Mitch just make the move here? One thing about Mitch is always looking to attack. He is a hunter, voices strong, slaying demons with his songs, as he's going to make the move on the inside there, and he's going to take that position going into the final couple turns of the track. Great overtake by Mitch there.
Yeah, it was fantastic overtake on Zawadzki there by Nyreds. Got a really good exit out of those kind of infield S's. And yeah, made that late break move into the final couple corners. Great overtake by Nyreds.
Yeah, and as Sam would say, Nyreds isn't just overtaking there; he's shining like he's born to be. As we follow along with the great Neil Kerbel here, who's got a great lead, 8 seconds. He's got to be feeling really good about this. No one's really contested him at all tonight. He had a dominant qualifying session, and he has had a dominant race. So one thing we've seen with Neil in the past is running into some issues with back markers. So Neil's just got to choose his spots wisely of when he laps the cars and just continue with a clean race. And it really seems like without any mistakes, our top 5 really are kind of set in stone here. Everyone's got 2 to 3 second gap at minimum to the drivers in front of them. So they just need to kind of carry on with their race, and they should be okay. And I mean, if you're Darren Wicks here, if you're Gavin Cook, what are you thinking to make up 2 seconds here on these guys in front of you to maybe make up a place? What is your strategy?
Yeah, it's really hard, Dan. I mean, you're just at this point of the race, you're starting to get hit to that point where I start to feel that little bit of fatigue, right? We're 20 minutes in, and you've been lapping, pretty consistently. Most of the race drama's out of the way. So you kind of hit two mindsets that I've run into. You either are just like really locked in and you just lapping after lap, and maybe you're chipping away at your delta each and every lap as the fuel burns off and you keep the tires alive. Or sometimes you just hit that wall and you just like your focus starts to wander. You start maybe chasing your delta too hard, and then lap time starts going the other way. So yeah, it's not an easy thing to do, closing gaps, especially against drivers who are so equally paced as you. When we look at these guys in qualifying, being separated by tenths, if you think about that over a couple seconds, that could be like 10 laps that you've got to consistently be a couple tenths quicker just to make that gap up.
Yeah, it's so true. And I mean, this is definitely the point at the race for myself where I start to feel that little bit of fatigue, where it's just the smallest distraction, right, can cause the biggest issues for you. If you're braking at a 100-meter board and you brake at 80 meters instead of 100, that can be the difference between making a curb and not making a corner. So yeah, I mean, they got to stay focused, and you got to be careful about overdriving, which is a mistake that I always make in these situations. And unfortunately, you hate to say it, but sometimes it's better to just stick in 4th place than end up racing yourself into 6th place.
Yep, absolutely. Or racing yourself into a wall, which, I've done myself. You've been happily cruising in a position I would love to finish in, and then again, just you lose focus and you do something stupid and you put the car on the wall.
Absolutely. So we have a few more drivers who have taken their pit. It looks like Nyrats is coming to the pit, and I don't believe Malott had pit before, but he has pit now. From the amateur class, Zawadzki and Leung have not pit. Zawadzki's got a 12-second lead to Leung, so he's probably feeling great there. But I think the question, if you're Zawadzki, is do you just come in? Oh, he's going to go into the grass, and he's going to lose it here. So that is exactly what you don't want to do. Case in point. Sorry there, Damien. Keep fighting through. But yeah, that definitely makes your heart start to race, and you start to overthink things a little bit when that happens. But what I was going to say is, if you're Zawadzki, do you just pull into the pits, right? You have Tyler Morgan and you got Tarugo, who are your two closest competitors this race. They were under a second before they pulled in the pit window. Do you just come in and get your pit over with, or do you keep extending this as long as you possibly can? It's a tricky situation because Zawadzki does have clean air. You brought that up earlier, and he is basically hot lapping. So in hindsight, maybe the best decision for him is to stay out there until he starts to maybe catch some back markers to get slowed down anyway. But he's going to want to keep that car on track. I know his heart was beating a little quicker there, that Apple Watch going off. Because it's a never fun thing when you're leading the race and you go onto the grass and spin out a little bit. I know that from experience.
Yeah, it looks like he caught that one pretty clean. He got pretty fortunate there, just ran a little wide. Definitely would have been worth about 4 or 5 seconds of lap time loss. So not ideal for Zawadzki, and his lead. Like you mentioned, with the likes of Tyler and Tarugo having completed their pit stops, and both of them throwing down some pretty good lap times. I think Zawadzki is still on average lapping a little bit quicker than the other two behind. So yeah, we'll be really curious to see how this all shakes out once his stop has been completed. And yet to see very many pros complete their stops as well. Only just the two, Chronotis and Henderson, dipped it early, as Chronotis is in there now. Henderson likely to come out making a pretty decent gain from what I can gather looking at the timing page. So pitting, again, I think Nathan was a case of maybe not starting where he wanted to on the grid, and instead of trying to fight his way through, thought, I'm going to pit early. As soon as that pit window opens, get my mandatory fuel and be on my way to see how many positions I can make up.
Yeah, so just to circle back with Nathan, he was actually collected in that first lap incident, in one of those, I don't know, felt like 6 incidents that happened in those first few corners. He was collected and dropped to the back of the grid. And I think he just made the decision, rather than trying to work your way through, 6, 7 AM drivers who you're going to have a lot better pace than, and then start fighting with some Pro-Am drivers. I'm just going to pit early and I'm going to hot lap the rest of the race. And that's the decision he made. And I think in his situation, that was the perfect decision to make, because I think that's given him the best opportunity for a recovery race. And we're seeing it. He's made up the position on Chronotis now that he's coming to the pit lanes. I got to wait to see for this timing board to update how far he is from Leung. But Leung and Zawadzki are going to pull in. They have 15 or so minutes before they got to come in. So he may catch them a little bit. I don't know how much either of those two are going to fight with him at this point. And then he's catching up to those pro drivers. So I don't think we're going to see him on a podium tonight, but I think we're definitely going to see him gaining positions that he might not have gained if he waited to pit. I think it was a great strategy for him.
Yeah, no, he looks to be lapping at some pretty good lap times. I would expect to see him come out somewhere between probably Spencer and Stefani, if I were to make a bit of a prediction once those guys have completed their stops and that all shakes out. So yeah, definitely considering, like you said, dropped all the way to the back, maybe recover himself back to maybe 6th or 7th place.
As we follow along with Dean Stefani right now, who I think all in all, he's got to be pretty happy with his return to DRL. It's always tough your first race back, and I don't know how much time he spent on the sim rig or if he's still a little bit rusty here, but I do believe he was kind of collected in some of those earlier incidents, because he was down, I want to say at one point in like 14th place. He was pretty low on the grid, and he's done a great job to recover here, as he's 7/10 behind Spencer, and he is going to get a very harsh reminder here into the defense that we've talked about over and over again of Spencer Braun, but he is going to look to maybe make something happen with down to half a second now.
Yeah, you're right, Dan. Dean was actually the first one hit in the race. He was the first Mustang I saw go sliding across the track around corner 2 or 3. So yeah, Dean was the first incident marker on my report here that I see on my sheet. And yeah, so looking to make a good strong drive back up the order.
Yeah, and we had a little bit of chaos in the first few corners, really, and then we had the incident with Hermione's getting hit. But outside of that, it's been a pretty clean race all in all. However, this is still probably some of the most incidents we've seen this season, as Stefani looks to make the move on the inside. And I know Spencer went deep. I was going to say, I know Spencer wasn't expecting it or what, but Stefani went real deep there. Spencer did a good job of avoiding him from the outside line, and yeah, Stefani's going to be regretting that, but that's battling Spencer, right? We've seen it over and over again about how strong his defense is, and at some point you just start to get aggressive and you make moves that you shouldn't make, or you break later and you try to do something just to get past him already. It gets so frustrating behind someone who's such a good defensive driver. And you make mistakes like that. So unfortunate for Stefani. It doesn't look like it's going to cost him all in all too much. Didn't look like there was any damage. But he has kind of lost that battle as he looks to make another one. As we have Kyle Hirsch, who's looking to get past somebody here as he looks to overtake a back marker.
It's Tyler Morgan, I believe, there in the 72. Tyler be getting the blue flags, dips out of the way. In a spot that he didn't necessarily need to. Could always wait to the straight that he's on now. A reminder for anybody watching, our blue flag rules are that drivers do have to cede the position on the next available straight off of the racing line. If drivers choose to get out of the way before that, they are welcome to, obviously, wanting to preserve their own lap times. But yeah, no, it's up to the overtaking driver to do so in a responsible and safe manner if they're going to try to go around the driver outside of a straight.
Absolutely correct. Now, Morgan, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here, but do you have any idea how long the pit lane is here, or what the average pit stop time has been so far?
It looks like we're looking anywhere between 53 and 55 seconds for that's the transit time, and then you add the stop time there on for fuel. It's going to be anywhere from 7 to 10 seconds depending on how many liters they're taking. So we're almost looking at a full minute from pit entry to pit exit.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of looking. Tyler's built up quite the gap on Tarugo here so far, and just kind of quickly looking at these time charts, I don't know if Zawadzki's got a minute on Tyler Morgan. He may end up taking first place by the time this is done, as we see Stefani coming in and making his pit stop here. So he's going to pull it in, and we'll see if Henderson's able to get in front of him as he comes through. But yeah, Tyler seems to have some great pace right now as he's working his way through, as he's got, who's that? Nyrad's right behind him, who's there racing for position. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. I don't think Mitch is going to give Nyrad's much of a fight here, but I've been wrong before about it.
Oh, as we see Tyler not jump out of the way there, and Mitch go a little deep on the brakes. Good avoidance not to hit the back of Morgan there in the 72. Yeah, like you say, Dan, we witnessed Tyler, unfortunately, at Imola, battling with cars outside of his class that ended poorly. So curious to see how Tyler lets this go. Looks like Mitch is going to try to go around the outside here. Tyler's not going to give way, though. So Tyler is here to race. It seems like Tyler has decided, I don't care what class you're in. You get around me the hard way.
And it looks like they both are going to be blue flagged, as we do see some flashing lights from one of the Hirsch brothers saying, let me through. And this is a tough spot to be, is who's going to get out of his way, because they both kind of got to get out of his way here, as he looks to do something to say, let me through here. But he's going to just stick behind Tyler. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. So Mitch has let him through. Tyler's going to let him through on the turn there. So maybe a little bit of a strategic move as Mitch is going to go wide. He's going to go deep, and Mitch is going to go off track, trying to make that move past Tyler. So Tyler's strategy kind of had worked out for him, is don't let him go through the straight when you got your opponent right behind you. Just open it up on one of the corners. You don't got to let him through on the corners, but it's a little bit easier. Mitch tried to take advantage of it and just ran up on the grass, and he's going to be kicking himself for that. But some stout defense by Tyler works out in his favor this time. Hopefully he doesn't find himself having lost too much time, because he was making a big push on Zawadzki for some positions, and he might have just lost a little bit too much time there. I cannot wait to see where some of these guys come out of the pits. It's always so exciting.
Yeah, well, like you say, battling always is going to slow you down. So Tyler choosing to battle these cars on track, hey, you know what? I'm all here for it. It makes for exciting racing. That's what we're here to do. We're here to race each other, but it can cost you time on your lap. But like you said there, yeah, back on the previous lap, there looked like Mitch was maybe trying to take advantage of Tyler letting one of the fire, I think it was Hirsch, through on the blue flag, and just got his wheels into the rubber that you can see on the outside of the track there, and that'll definitely pull the car wide, and it pushed him into the sand.
Yeah, it's always a little motivational booster when you're battling someone who's in a little bit of a higher class than you, and you're able to and you're able to hold that defense. And you know, Tyler and Mitch are great friends, and it's always double as good or double as sweet when you beat your friend. So I'm sure Tyler's feeling great about that move. So let's see what he can do with these final 12 minutes. We got about 7 more minutes, and we have 8 drivers who still need to pull in the pit lanes. So we're going to have a lot of drivers coming in soon, kind of mixing up this track. But it looks like, is that Mitch who's right behind him again now?
Yeah, Mitch has caught back up to Tyler. Tyler had to let Mitch's teammate Darren Wicks through on blue flag, so that's allowed Mitch to get another good run back up on here, Tyler. So this battle is going to resume here probably by the end of this lap, as Mitch definitely has the pace to reel Tyler in, but getting around him is another story. That's one thing I always found with racing is, you can be half a second a lap quicker, but on some tracks it takes being 0.8 to a full second quicker to be able to get around that driver. So yeah, like we've talked about, can definitely be frustrating, especially that driver is good at putting on a defense masterclass.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be exciting to see if Mitch can get past that little soda pop there. As we take a look at the standings, and it looks like Stefani has come out in front of Henderson by about 1.5 seconds. So it looks like that is where Henderson's charge has come through, and he's got to maybe hope to make up some time. So that will be one to keep an eye on, is Henderson able to close that gap a little bit over the next 2 minutes? And where do they play out as far as, Spencer coming out and Gav Cook as well?
Yeah, we're going to find out here in about less than 5 minutes or so, Dan. Right, reminder for anybody watching, we do run a pit window here in the DRL. Drivers are required to perform a pit stop while that pit window is open. As you can see on screen, we got about 5 minutes left for drivers to make their stop with about 10 minutes left in the race. So can't run all the way to the very end before making your pit stop. So drivers required to take fuel. Tires are optional, which we don't see drivers take very often.
Yeah, and while you were going through the pit windows there, we saw Tyler get a little squirrely as he makes a defensive move on Mitch, and he's just loving this battle here. He is not going to want to give it up. Go ahead.
This is great to watch. Good fun. Mitch doing a little bit of swerving, trying to get in Tyler's mirrors and throw him off his game. That's one of my favorite things to do when you're following somebody who you maybe feel like you're a little bit quicker than, is just try to show your nose in a spot he's not going to expect you to be. Make him maybe lose focus on his braking point and try to throw him off his line. So Mitch trying to throw some distraction tactics as we see Tyler run a little wide there. Not enough for Mitch to capitalize, but he might get a good run here onto the start-finish straight, and this might be Mitch's best opportunity to get past Tyler.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're going to see him definitely make that move there, but Tyler is going to be aggressive with that defense. And, as I said earlier, Tyler and Mitch are great friends, and they've raced a long time. Mitch has historically had a little bit better pace, but Tyler's saying, it's my turn. I'm going to be your idol. So he's out there kind of leading the charge today. So great fun. They got about 8 minutes left. I know they're going to be loving it in Chad, and Tyler's probably got a big old grin on his face as this battle's going. But it will be interesting to see if Mitch can distract him enough. And I got to think Mitch is going to make a move. Whenever you're racing your buddy, you get a little more careless. And at the end of the race, you say, I'm going to make that move. And how mad is your buddy going to be if you clip him a little bit? So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. As Tyler's going to lose it. Oh! Mitch is going to get through there. Tyler held onto the car very well for hitting the curb and going up the grass. That was a good save by Tyler, but Mitch is gone now. Good job, Tyler. Great battle. Thanks for putting on a hell of a show, but I think Mitch is going to say see you later here. We got some more drivers who have come into the pit. We have, where does Zawadzki come out? Zawadzki has come out in this battle behind Tyler by like 10 seconds. So
a long shot.
Tyler's been putting up some great pace. I mean, you got to have great pace if you're keeping the likes of Mitch behind you with these kind of long straights here. But Liang's coming to the pits. We'll see where he's come out. But yeah, again, wow, as that looked like that might have been
Stefani,
who slid out and almost killed Spencer. So right now we have 3 drivers who haven't pit. 2 of them, the Hirsch brothers, have just pulled in. Darren Wicks is still out there. Kerbal 30 seconds behind him. He's going to still have a commanding lead of this race. But where does Leon come out? But this is huge for Tyler Morgan. Tyler Morgan has come out in first place. And again, he put it all on the line for you, our great DLR fans, for some entertaining racing. He risked his win, and it looks like it's going to pay off for him if he can hold Zawadzki off by about 7 seconds. But that was some risky driving with Nyrads, knowing that you're in the lead. Let's see, has Leon come out in holding up first place here? It looks like he is out of the pit lanes, and Leon might be in first. So I wonder if something happened with Zawadzki that we missed during this race, whether he came off track. But it looks like he's come out. Nope, Mitch is behind him. Tyler's behind him. So yeah.
I think it was just a timing board update there. A little slow to reshuffle the positions after he came out of his pit stop. But yeah, it looks like he settled in behind Tarugo.
Yeah, so something interesting here. It looks like, again, this could be just timing issues, but it looks like Kerbal is... Nope, he just moved up. Okay, I was going to say it had him 4/10 behind Kyle Hirsch and Daniel Hirsch. But yeah, no. I was like, something happened with Neil. But alas, no. Darren Wicks has about a minute left to get into the pits, so we should see him pull into the pits in his next lap, and Neil resume his first place charge. And everything is kind of settling in here. We have Leung about 8/10 behind Tarugo. That looks like it's probably going to be our closest battle on the track as we see Darren Wicks pull in to make his pit stop, throw in a couple liters of fuel, and get out there as quickly as possible. It'll be interesting. I think he was in 4th place when he came in, a net 4th place behind the Hirsch brothers, is where he's at. So we'll see if he can kind of hold that position, or if Gav and or Spencer have been able to make up some time. We've seen Spencer put up a great drive today, but highly defensive. All race he's been putting up the defense, and that slows you down. We've talked about that before. With Stefani's little incident of going off track, Henderson has gone in front of him. He's 3.5 seconds behind Braun. I don't think there's enough time for him to make that up unless something happens to one of these drivers. We see Kerbal has resumed his first place. So he is keeping it going. I don't want to say an easy win for him because this track is not easy, but he has made it look very easy out there.
Yeah, Dan, and as predicted, now the drivers have all completed their pit stops. Henderson kind of shook out where we predicted he might. He's fallen right between Braun and Stefani there in 7th place. So a really good recovery for Henderson considering how his race started. And chasing down Braun and getting by him in the last 4 minutes, not out of the question either. Henderson's lapping quite quickly and looks like maybe Braun is starting to struggle with a bit of tire degradation, which always seems to hit the Porsche pretty hard late in the race. Having driven that car, it becomes a handful to hang on to as the fuel burns off and the car gets light. You start to do lots of sliding. So not out of the question for Nathan maybe to get another spot if he can put in the lap times and chase Spencer down here in the last 4 minutes of the race.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see because Nathan Hernandez is a fantastic driver, a great driver in DRL, but he seemed to struggle tonight on this track in qualifying, and obviously in the race he was in an instance which was a bit out of his control falling down there. But it does make me wonder where his comfort level is with this track, and maybe he has found some pace, although we see it move back up to three seconds now. So I'm just not sure if there's enough time for him to make that recovery, but it will be definitely something to watch. But all in all, I think given where he qualified and what it feels like his comfort level is with a very difficult track, he's probably, not too upset about this. But Neil's got to be feeling great. Feels like every time me and you get on here and watch, he just has an absolute dominating performance. So he's got to feel really good about this, where the season's going for him. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think Neil has won a driver's champion in DRL before, has he?
He is a previous championship winner. Yes, he did win one. I can't remember if that was season 4
Was it
or
last season?
5.
No.
No, Cooper Atherton took the Drivers' Championship the last 2 years? Or no, Denarte took it last year, right at the end. But yeah, either way, Neil is a previous winner here in the DRL, having won one of our championships. I'm just failing to remember which season it was.
It's all right. Happens to the best of us here, and I couldn't tell you either. But this has been a commanding lead this race, and just a dominating season so far for him. So he's got to be feeling great about putting up another first place. As we see Kyle in second place, he's got to be feeling great about that. Daniel 4.4 seconds behind him. I know he'll be happy with that, although probably a little disappointed to lose to his brother. I know that's definitely how I would be feeling if I was racing my brother. And we got Darren Wicks in 4th place. We got Gavin Cook in 5th place, Spencer Braun in 6th place, 7th for Henderson, who's now 2.2 seconds behind Braun. Stefani is 2.2 seconds behind him in 8th, and Professor Chronotis is rounding out the Pro Division in 9th place. We got Mitch Nairades in 10th place overall, but 1st place for the Pro-Am category. And Hermanis, who has done his best to recover after an early incident, is in the net 15th place, but 2nd in the Pro-Am category. And leading the amateur class for hopefully a back-to-back victory is Tyler Morgan, followed by Damian Zawatsky, who's 7.4 seconds behind him. We got Tarugo in 3rd place, who's 1.6 seconds behind him is Alan Leung, followed by John Malott, who's in 5th place, and Sanchez, who is in 6th place in the AM category. A great race all in all for everybody. We got the final minute. Let's see if anything exciting will happen. And currently, according to my information, we have Neil Kerbel, who put in pole position for the pro category, who looks to be winning. We have Mitch Nairades, who put up the pole position in Pro-Am, who is currently winning that. So that looks like we will have 2 subs potentially gifted to chat tonight.
You got it, Dan. Yeah, those 2 can hang on here for the last probably one lap to go. I think we're going to be on a white flag lap here. So yeah, those guys hang on to their spots. We got 2 subs we're going to give out.
Right, man. Neither is on the final lap. Give me the one you can.
Yeah, absolutely got to love the donated subs here. We follow along with Daniel Hirsch as he kind of finishes. I see yellow flags are out. I wonder what that is about. I don't know if you can see any information here.
Don't have a yellow, or I do for car number 107. I think that's Will Sanchez had a brief yellow flag, maybe just a little off-track excursion. Don't have a replay for it though.
Yeah, well, you know, every now and again it's a little fun to do some off-roading. For those of you that like Snow Runner, we do run some Snow Runner here every now and again. So follow along with Sam as he leads the charge. So if you're a fan of off-roading, Snow Runner might be your game. As time is up in the race, as we're going to finish this here, we look at along with Daniel Hirsch, and it looks like that was Hermanis kind of following him a lap behind. So a great race all in all. We saw, you know, fair amount of action, but we saw a lot of drivers put a lot of pressure on each other, as they probably are going to breathe a sigh of relief as they finish the race here. Now, Morgan, when you're out there, is there ever a point where you hit your second wind and you feel like, oh, I'm ready to, you know, I'm really feeling it again now?
I can't say that I do in these shorter 45-minute sprint races. Either I stay on the whole time or I start to lose it and I don't really gain it back. You know, having done some endurance racing, of course, where you're doing multiple stints, yeah, definitely have found second wind in the car, but it usually takes a little bit longer than a 45-minute race.
Fair enough, as we see Neil Kerbel, who takes the checkered flag and officially comes in first place here. We have Kyle Hirsch and Daniel Hirsch, who look to be crossing the finish line as well. Kyle first, Daniel swerving around a little bit in celebration with his pit crew, who gets the final podium position for the pro category. Now we got Darren Wicks, who is pulling in fourth place. I think he's going to be happy with that all in all. Gav Cook, a great race for Gav. We didn't see Gav too much, which sometimes is a good thing. He's going to pull up fifth place here. followed by Spencer Braun is going to be the next across the line. Now, just due to the current position of drivers, we have a few other drivers who have crossed the line already, as we see Spencer do it. We have Tarugo and we have Leung, we have Hermanis, we have Malat and Sanchez, who have all locked in their position. So Tarugo has locked in that third podium position. I would be shocked if we see Zawadzki make up 8 seconds on this last lap here, as we see Spencer going to the wall as drivers are doing donuts. Stefani is finished. Henderson is finished. We're following along with Nyrads. Him and Chronotis will be the next to finish here.
Looks like he just got an overtake done on Chronotis on the last lap there, too.
Well, I'm sure
Mitch moves up to P9.
That too much. Yeah, that's always feel good. Mitch has battled out there. I think all in all, he'll end up finishing, being happy with his finish. We had Mitch in 9th, Chronotis in 10th, Tyler Morgan 11th, Zawadzki 12th, as we fold through Tarugo, Leung, Hermanis, Malat, and Sanchez. A great race by our drivers all in all. A really exciting race. Was there any memorable moments for you tonight?
I want to say the battle between Tyler and Mitch is probably going to go down as some of my favorite moments tonight. You love to see the AM driver put up a fight against the Pro-Am with Mitch, who's got a ton of pace. So that was great to watch. Looking forward to watching the stream back and catching some more of that.
Yeah, it was such an exciting race. I mean, the first lap was exciting. It was really exciting seeing the battle between Tyler and Nyrads. I mean, not two drivers who you see battle too much out there all in all, and it was really exciting. And thankfully for Tyler, there was not too much of a loss. He was still able to hold on to the lead, so I'm sure he is just loving it tonight. Hopefully we see him pop into the green room. I do see him in there. You know what? Let's bring Tyler in here first, and I'm going to pull Tyler over, and we are going to let me get him in here.
Hello.
Tyler, welcome to the stream. How are you doing, and how are you feeling after that fantastic race?
I mean, I got a little bit into like a little bit of an uh-oh moment at like, I think turn 4, 5. Yeah, turn 4, 5, and just kind of made a bit of an oopsie, spun myself, and then kind of ended up in the back. But thankfully, the AM division is the AM division, and anything can happen. So you get these situations where you catch up to the drivers pretty quickly, especially if they're battling each other. They slow each other down. I managed to get by Malat eventually. Took a few tries, especially with his condition. He actually does better. Then I got by Leung in the weirdest place. I hope it gets that on camera because that was insane. And then I just do my casual box to overtake strat, and it worked out. I think I'm P1. I don't know.
You did finish P1, penalties notwithstanding.
Obviously.
Yeah, but you know, I gotta say, both Morgan and I felt like the highlight of this race tonight was watching your battle with Mitch. What was going through your mind during it? Were there flashbacks to Imola, and just how good were you feeling holding him off as well as you did?
I think that was less holding him off and more him not wanting to, like, put himself out in a bad spot. It definitely did give me flashbacks because I said I wasn't gonna fight him, and then I guess I just instinctively started fighting him because he's Mitch. Again, we live close by, so he's in my hometown, so I gotta at least put up somewhat of a fight. I don't know, I have to go look. Because, like, for me, when he finally overtook me, I don't think there was a gap enough inside for him to make a move. But I saw him starting to go for it, and I knew if I turned in too much, we were going to hit. So I just eventually let him go because, like, it's not worth it for me to get involved into another incident and lose P1, so...
Yeah, absolutely. From the stream point of view, from what we saw, and we were on Mitch's car at the time, so it was a little hard to see exactly. It looked like you just clipped the grass a little bit and lost the car and had a super save from like really losing it. So it's interesting to hear like the driver's perspective after the fact of what was kind of going through their mind. Because to us, it looked like you almost maybe lost the car, braking a little bit too late and clipping the grass. So it was an exciting drive. We caught a lot of your battle. We loved it. It was really exciting to see. But congratulations on a huge P1, back-to-back victories for you. I gotta feel like you're just feeling great tonight. Had some good battles out there. Had a great recovery drive, and there's nothing better than getting gold.
Oh yeah, there's definitely nothing better, and it's just a shame that my first two races, Coda not included because I didn't drive it, just didn't pan out to fruition or panned out what I wanted it to. Because then me and Zawadzki would be in a really good fight right now, but he had a good first half, and I'm hoping to do what I did the last time in the last season, and just seal every race at the end of the season and see what I can make out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know how it is as a former champion is the longer the season goes, the longer you're in the lead, the more pressure you start to feel to continue to perform. So keep up the good work, capitalize on every race, and it should be a great battle by the end of the season. But great job tonight. Thank you so much. I'm going to move you back over to the green room, but you have yourself a great night, Tyler. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem, and I'll move myself.
We got quite a lineup in there, Dan. We better grab the next one and probably bring in our pro winner, Neil. We don't talk to Neil very often on stream, so let's grab
get him in
Kerbal.
Neil, the great Kerbal. What a performance tonight from start to finish. How are you feeling after such a dominating performance?
As always, very tired.
Fair enough. Any thoughts on the race? I mean, I don't think at any point in time you were sweating. Even through that first turn, it felt like you were already 15 seconds ahead of everybody. What is your secret?
No, you should ask Kyle. Like, I was pretty terrified in turn one. I thought he was going to make a move on the inside, so I tried blocking it off. But I was able to build up a gap between him next few corners. I don't know. It's just... Indianapolis is a track that I really enjoy driving. Just you don't see it very often.
You're one of the few, Neil.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Is it's a tricky track to drive. There's a few spots where traction can be hard to find, but it just seems like you own the track. You dominated tonight, and it's got to always feel great just commanding a lead like that.
Yeah, I definitely need to win after last week.
Yeah, I want to say it was a 7th place finish, so nice to get back on the first place streak as you continue a dominant performance in the pro category. At any point in time, do you feel the pressure from being in first place and needing to hold that standings?
Only at the start, unless like somebody is really close. But I keep my eye on the relatives, and I usually have a pretty good idea of like when I need to start worrying.
Well, congratulations on a great win. I mean, qualifying from the pole position to the dominating victory. It was a night to celebrate Neil. You may not know this, but we did something special tonight for September. Is if anyone, which is like a Twitch sub special, but for any drivers that got pole position qualifying and won the race, we donated subs. So we've had about 15 subs donated to the channel today thanks to your victory. So great job out there. We thank you for your hard work out there and helping us grow our channel.
Oh, thanks. And you're welcome to everybody watching who got a sub. Congratulations to all of you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your
right
time,
on, Neil. Great drive.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to drop you back over to the green room, and I am going to pull in, let's pull in Kyle Hirsch next, kind of work our way through the pro category here. Thank you, Neil.
Cheers.
Mr. Kyle Hirsch, great race tonight. How are you feeling about everything?
I'm feeling pretty good. It was nice to be back in racing. I've been away for a couple of weeks, so it felt good.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, you had a great performance tonight in second place, but you were following behind a just absolute dominating drive by Neil, who loves the track and had mega pace. And, you know, what's going through your mind in second place, especially with your brother behind you?
Well, the first lap I wanted to be close to Kerbal and just see what he was doing differently. And I picked up a few little tricks, but he right away hit a 35 or something crazy. And after that, I was just like, okay, I just need to fight my brother and keep him back there.
Yeah, so are there any team orders between Team Hirsch Racing there, or are you guys just free-for-all out there?
We are free for all. We
You'll love to see it.
we got the green light to race.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So we talked to Neil right before you, and Neil really thought you were going to throw it down the inside into turn 1 at the start of the race. Did that cross your mind at all?
Yes, I wanted to so bad. And,
Yeah.
I came very close to doing it, but that curb came up quicker than I thought, and it was going to launch me into him. So I decided against it.
Yeah, fair enough. So just a great job out there, a great return for both the Hirsch brothers, seeing Team Hirsch Racing. Does it feel a little sweeter when you beat your brother like that?
I love beating Daniel. I don't care how, I just love it. and it's the same with him too. If he beats me, he gets bragging rights, and then I feel really bad and mad, and then I realize that I practiced for like hours and hours, and oh yeah, we like that competitive nature in both of us.
Yeah, you gotta love it, but I think it pushes each other to make each of you just that much better. And it's always great to have a friendly rivalry with someone who will help you get better. Morgan, you got any questions for Kyle before we let him go here tonight?
No, just like, I mean, I don't know how you guys do it. You take 2 weeks off of racing. I don't know if you got any practice time in while you were away, Kyle, but to show up and throw down a dominant P2 like that, we know Neil was in a bit of a league of his own tonight, but still an amazing race for somebody who hasn't been on track with the rest of the grid in quite a while.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It sometimes it's good to get a reset.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kyle, for your time. I appreciate it. Congratulations on a huge podium finish. I'll drop you back in the green room, and we will bring in Damian Zawadzki to move back over to the AM division. Thank you, Kyle. Have a great night.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you, guys.
Damian, congratulations on a podium finish. How are you feeling about your race tonight?
Thank you. Yeah, P2, definitely excited about that. Me and Tyler Morgan back at it again this race.
Yeah, it was quite the battle, and the pit stops, they always keep you guessing, and it was just sitting on the edge of my seat seeing where things would come out with the pit windows. Did something happen, or did you lose the car at all before you went into the pits, or was Tyler just able to gain that much time through your pit window to take the lead from you?
I think it was a combination of both tonight. I think I did have one off track about 6 laps before I pit. And then, Tyler just had the pace tonight. I think he came out still 7 seconds ahead of me tonight. So definitely had the pace to compete.
Yeah, that he did. And, we watched you a lot tonight, and it was really impressive seeing the strategy that you took. You found yourself through the first lap. You avoided a lot of the first lap chaos and made up a ton of positions. The downside of that is you got some really fast drivers who are behind you that you got to figure out how to deal with. And I thought you did a great job of finding smart places to let them through where you didn't really lose a lot of time, wasting time battling them, and were able to capitalize on that. Did you feel like that put any extra pressure on you when you look in your rearview mirrors and you see pro and pro-ams who are putting up just these mega times right behind you?
I'd say, yeah, it's definitely a little bit of pressure, but nothing that I'm not used to. Finding the time, I compete in a lot of multi-class racing too, so finding the gaps for people to pass isn't that big of an issue anymore.
Yeah, well, you definitely showed your experience in it tonight because you did a great job with it, and it all seemed to work out great. I got to think that you're happy with the P2. Anytime you're at a podium is great, and taking a look at the season standings right now, it's always a good thing when your worst result for a year is third place. So,
definitely.
Yeah, we got to see, and there was some chaos in turn 1. I don't know if Tyler caused it or was involved with it, but remember that these are tentative standings and that penalties may come in and apply and shake up these standings a little bit. So keep an eye on that. But a great race tonight, and it's been a great season so far. Are you feeling any pressure leading this AM division?
Definitely a little bit. This is my second season in the DRL, and I think it's nice to be out front, but definitely a little bit of pressure that comes with it, but I'm excited to see what comes for the rest of the season.
Awesome. So who are you feeling right now is your biggest threat coming into the going into this final or the second half of the season. You know, standing wise, you got Alan Leung in second place, who's about 17 points behind you, and you have Tarugo behind him, who's about 26 points behind you, and then of course there's Tyler, who is 30 points behind you. Tyler seems to be making some momentum, but I don't know if you feel that as the threat or if you feel it more from Leung and Tarugo.
I mean, honestly, all three, they're always there to compete every race, so you never know what's going to happen for the rest of the season. I know we got the North Sheffer coming up at the end of the year. That's a definitely complicated track, so anything can happen.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Morgan, you got anything for Damien before I let him go?
Just a great drive, my friend. Like Dan said at the beginning there, you always guys keep us on the edge of our seats with your mixed pit strategies, and it's really hard to calculate where everyone's going to come out. We thought you had this one tonight, but yeah, Tyler was just put in those laps and got some early room. But like Dan said, this championship's far from over, and you could still come out victorious if penalties are in play for Tyler.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you guys tonight. Thank you for hosting, as always.
Absolutely. Thank you, Damien. I'll move you back to the green room, and I am going to pull in Tarugo here quickly. Tarugo,
Hey.
great race tonight. Strong
guys.
battles through. What was your thoughts all in all?
Honestly, I kind of was a little dumbfounded at how I lost so much time. Like I came out of the pits and I tried to undercut Zawadzki, and when I came out, I was behind Tyler like 12 seconds, I think. I was like, how did I lose so much time? But at that point, I just put my head down and just try to grind it out. Towards the end, Leon showed up, and I'm like, oh. At that point, my tires were pretty cooked, but I kept them behind me.
Yeah, and I don't know as much as if you losing time or Tyler gaining time. Tyler found some mega pace throughout this race, and he was flying. And I mean, at one point, he was like 15 seconds behind Zawadzki, and he ended up finishing like 8 or 9 seconds ahead of him. So Tyler definitely found some pace in the second half of this race and found a little motivation. So another podium finish for you. It's always great. You love to see it. How are you feeling about the season all in all?
I like it. I feel like I'm settling in more into the Porsche. I was just talking to the other guys. It's definitely a car that takes a lot to get used to, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying the season so far.
Yeah, and Morgan could definitely speak to some of the challenges of driving the Porsche. We talked about a little bit of stream, but it is a car that is brutal on the tires, and it can be difficult at the end of races to keep that pace going.
Yeah, I definitely felt that today.
Yeah, especially on a track like Indy where it already feels like there's not a lot of grip here. Well, once that fuel starts burning off in that Porsche and you start sliding those tires around, yeah, it makes the last, 10, 15 minutes of the race sometimes pretty painful.
Yeah, I was very much sweating that entire race, but at the end I was sweating bullets for sure.
Well, Tarugo, great job in this race. Congratulations. I'm going to cut this one just a little shorter because I got a few more people to get through and I've been running long. But congratulations. Another great race, a great season for you so far. Looking forward to watching the second half of the season and hopefully seeing you continue your dominant run.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you guys. Take care.
All right. Next we got in Daniel Hirsch here. Daniel, welcome to the stream. How you feeling after the race tonight?
I'm feeling good. I feel like I had a good pace today.
Yeah, thoughts of, right, so you got the first place who, Neil was just absolutely dominant tonight. He loves Indy. He's got a lot of experience on this track, and he just put up a great pace. And then it's you and your brother. What are your thoughts behind being your brother and maybe finding that line between, not pushing too hard and finding yourself on an off-roading trip and trying to make up those places?
It's always hard against my brother. He's just always the one lap pace better than me, and I used to beat him by mistakes, but now he doesn't make any mistakes. So now I'm like using Track Titan and doing all those little things just to get up to him. But I was 1,000th behind him in qualifying today.
Yeah, it was real close.
Qualifying.
Yeah, oh man, I almost had him. Sector 3 I was a lot faster though, so that's where I was trying to move forward, but wasn't working.
So it can be sometimes a little difficult to work out the difference between yours or Kyle's cars out on the track. Was it you who got stuck behind that battle between Mitch and Tyler, or was that Kyle?
That was me.
That was you. What
Yeah.
was your thoughts behind that? Because we were watching that as it happened, and I mean, Tyler did not want to give that position to Mitch. He didn't really open it up down that main straight for you, but he kind of opened it up into the first or the second corner, which was an odd spot. But what's going through your mind as you're trying to, lap these cars that are in such an intense battle?
I was really hoping they weren't gonna outbrake themselves into me because I've done a similar thing. I think it was Nürburgring one season. I outbroke myself right into Wicks after letting him by. So I was just kind of like thinking of Nam at that point.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, great race tonight. It's been a great season all in all for you. How are you feeling about the season as a whole?
Oh, it's been great. I had especially liked Kylarme. I really liked that track. That was
With the reverse grid?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I don't know how Henderson was that fast, but yeah, that one was a fun one.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's got their track that they can just have that mega pace on. And I mean, if you take a look at the standings all in all, you're still right there for a top 3 finish. You finished ahead of Darren tonight, which is great for you as you're kind of looking to battle with him for 3rd place all in all. So keep up the good work over the second half of the season, and hopefully we'll see you on the final podium for the Drivers' Championship.
Oh, I look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Daniel. We appreciate your time. Hell of a race out there for you, and we will see you next week.
All right, thanks, man. Have a good one.
Great
All right,
racing,
you too.
Daniel. Have a good one.
Thank you.
All right, we got one last driver we're going to pull in here. I asked him to come in because I wanted to pick his brain a little bit, and that is Arturas Hermanis. So I'm going to pull him in here. Mr. Hermanis, how are you doing tonight?
Could have been better, but I guess not horrible.
Yep. They say, you broke into a million pieces and you can't come back, but you're finding all the beauty in the broken glass. And I just got to know, when you're in an incident like that, which we saw it on stream, it's devastating. You get kind of hit back-to-back corners. How do you stay composed through the rest of the race?
It's very difficult when you get back-to-back hits like that. Yeah, I was struggling for a couple of laps to get back mentally, but I've had enough, I think, experience with racing here and incidents in general across multiple either leagues or games that just keep your head down and race. Others can also have an incident, fingers crossed I can gain some time like that. Somebody misses their pit box, gets a drive through, just anything can happen. It was still like 10 minutes into the race, right? There's so much still can happen. So just keep driving.
Yep. No, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head is there is just that mental period that you need to make up. Now, kind of going through this, were you aware that there were only 3 drivers in the Pro-Am class tonight?
Yes, that also helped me with the decision factor to keep racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a little easier when you know that you're still finishing on a podium, like as long as you cross that finish line. But I thought it was a great recovery drive from you all in all, given the circumstances. You did your best. And yeah, I just wanted to pull you on the stream and kind of talk about that mentality a little bit, because I think it's something that can be very challenging for drivers. Not to just kind of rage quit when that happens. So I think it was just a testament to you and your commitment to DRL and driving that you stayed in the race and you fought back, and I don't care what anyone says. You had a recovery drive to P2. So congratulations on a podium finish tonight.
Thank you.
So, well, thank you. I appreciate you coming on and talk to us for a few minutes. I will move you back over to the channel with Gav, and you can give him a hard time. But I appreciate you coming on and a great job tonight, and looking forward to what else you're able to do in the Pro-Am class this season.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
All right, Morgan. Well, I think I've talked enough on these interviews.
Yeah, it was a lot, man. We go like a week sometimes to get no interviews. What do we have? 6 tonight? That's amazing. I love it. I love chatting with the boys. They're all fired up after the race. And their adrenaline's pumping. It was a good race tonight. There was a lot of good action, a lot of good driving. There was a couple of lap 1 incidents, but all in all, it was a pretty clean race. So yeah, super fun to watch, entertaining to commentate as always. Always fun being alongside you, Dan. And yeah, we had 2 of our pole sitters take wins. We were going to give away 2 subs, but it looks like we got a little excited there, Dan, and gave away a combined 15 subs between 3 of us. So hope everybody out there is enjoying those. And
yeah, we just got a sub from Tyler as well. So thank you for 9 months, almost a year, not quite, but you're almost there. But we appreciate you, Tyler. Great race tonight. And yeah, I think this might also be the first hype train that we've received on our DRL Twitch chat history. So what a start to September. Let's continue it next week with some more hype around the race, which should be a very exciting race next week.
yeah, well, next week I think we're back into mystery track again, aren't we, Dan? Driver's not going to know what's in store until an hour before qualifying starts.
Yep, that's absolutely right. And the mystery tracks always bring some great racing opportunities for us because the drivers just aren't comfortable there. They don't got their braking points honed down. They're not as familiar with the track, depending on what is rolled. But by and large, and I mean, we saw it even with Monza last season. You see chaos in the mystery tracks because the drivers just don't have the practice time that they're used to. So I expect some great racing next week. It should be really exciting. But not to take anything away from tonight. Tonight was a very exciting race. We didn't see a ton of overtakes, but we saw a lot of pressure put on by drivers and drivers making mistakes. And you clip that grass a little bit and, you know, no one really lost it too much. Everyone recovered well, but it was a really exciting race tonight and got to see some epic battles out there on the track.
Yeah, really good to watch. Lots of fun. Looking forward again to next week. But until then, I think that'll do it for tonight.
Absolutely. Have a great night, Morgan. Always love being in the booth with you here.
Yeah, you too, guys. Have a good night, everybody. We'll catch you next week.